Hello and welcome to this live episode of the Claret Blue podcast, a bonus episode, you might call it, as we've made another signing, James. Another one's through the door at last.
Yeah, they don't stop, mate. Like, it's getting frustrating now how many signings Villa are making. I'm getting really annoyed with it.
You know what, as well, we're also always on edge all day. Like, is this the day we make an announcement? Is this the day? Because if we do, we're going to have to go live. As always, when we make a signing these days, we get the lowdown on the player from some of the opposition. We had Matt Davis from Nottingham Forest talk about Matty Cash. We had Billy the Bee, not the mascot, talking about Ollie Watkins. And today we're joined by Art de Roche, brilliant name, by the way, from Football London, to talk about Emiliano Martinez. So, James, do you want to kick us off? What do you want to ask? What do you want to find out? Obviously, we sit here and we can look at his Wikipedia page and guess, but we've got an Arsenal fan here, an Arsenal writer. What do we want to know about him?
Well, the first things first. Let's set it straight. Do you think that he would have went for 20 million this time last season, Art?
Well, I think by the laugh, you probably got the answer. But yeah, I don't think this time last year Martinez would have commanded a fee that high. But especially with his performances after the restart, I think Arsenal were well within their rights to demand that much. And I don't think that Villa are overpaying with that fee, even if they wouldn't have paid it last year. I think this past season, Martinez has proven that he can perform consistently in the Premier League, and that's what Aston Villa are getting. And I think they would have been happy to pay that fee, and Arsenal are happy to receive that same fee.
There's a lot of comments coming through already saying how much of a great signing this is. A lot of happy Villa fans in the comments. People are saying that Arsenal fans aren't happy. Well, obviously, you got 20 million, but you're sad to see this guy go. And looking through his Wikipedia page, he hasn't made that many appearances for Arsenal. So why are you so upset to lose this guy?
Yeah, well, I think what comes into it as well as the fact that he was so impressive last season is just his journey overall, because he joined the club in 2010. He's been there for 10 years. And especially in the build-up to the FA Cup final, he spoke about how difficult a decision it was to actually join Arsenal, because he didn't want to just leave his family in Argentina who weren't very well off, and coming to Arsenal was a big risk for him. And the fact that after 10 years it paid off with that FA Cup win, and of course the Community Shield win as well, I think he's a player Arsenal fans really took to, especially in the last year under Mikel Arteta. And that, as well as the fact that he was such a key performer when he came in for the injured Bernd Leno last season. Those two aspects, I think, are two things that would have hurt Arsenal fans with the transfer. But I think they will all respect his decision, as he did prove that he's able to be a number one. And at the moment, Arsenal can't guarantee that with Bernd Leno at the club. So it's a painful one, but Arsenal fans will respect his decision.
I think there's a lot of talk about his character. I mean, you would probably have more insight than us about what type of bloke he is. So who is Martinez? I mean, we know he's a goalkeeper, but what type of person is he?
Just before you answer, the memory I can think of, the memory only happened a few weeks ago, is after the FA Cup, he's in tears in his post-match interview. Like, you can see that he's passionate. We've said this before on our podcast. It looks like we're finding good personalities as well as good players this time round, and that's obviously always a good sign.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why Arsenal fans would be so kind of painful in terms of letting him go, is the fact that he has been a really good character at Arsenal. And you mentioned the FA Cup final. He was also like FaceTiming his family on the side of the pitch while everyone else was celebrating in the dressing room. And I think that's probably one of there is a picture of it out there, him sat on the advertising.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the best pictures from the day. But aside from that, I didn't realize it until an interview done recently, but the way he approaches football is so mental as well. Not as a mental crazy, but like just the mental approach to his game is very high, because he's spoken about kind of like red and blue kind of decision making, stuff like that, where I hadn't even heard of that before he spoke about it, but it was all about basically staying focused on a specific side, red or blue, and keeping focused on the immediate needs rather than thinking about stuff that won't really improve his performance on the day. I'll try and dig it out and find it for you guys. But yeah, I think in terms of the person you're getting someone who is going to be extremely determined to perform for Aston Villa, and that's probably going to be just as important as his more tangible qualities, like his reflexes, shot stopping, and stuff like that.
I was going to say, what do you think his best footballing quality is?
I think concentration. If I can use that, I'd say
I'll take that.
Because
that's what Villa need. That's been our downfall, just lack of concentration in the defence, leading to silly mistakes.
Because I was at the Brighton game where he replaced Bernd Leno, and I think even though Arsenal lost the game, he stood out as someone who really impressed on that day. I think within seconds of him coming onto the pitch, he had to save kind of flashed Aaron Moy volley, and he saved it comfortably, both hands, no bounce, and then he just kicked on from there. Really, I think he's proven to stay sharp in throughout games. I remember his first start at Southampton. Arsenal were winning 1-0, but Southampton was still having some chances, and he was keeping Arsenal in the game. And then that proved important because Arsenal went on to score the second goal just before full time. And you also see that with outstanding save he made against Liverpool in the Premier League win at the Emirates, very late on in the game as well, where he almost stretched to his full length to make a save in the dying seconds to secure the 2-1 win for Arsenal. So I think concentration is a key one, but also, like I mentioned before, his distribution is also a side to his game that I think Aston Villa fans will enjoy, because even though there may be times where you may not want him to play short, he's confident enough to do it after a mistake is made. I think we saw that in the Community Shield, where he tried to play short to David Luiz. David Luiz panicked because it was literally his first game back after one training session. But 1 minute later, he went short to Rob Holding, and that's what led to Arsenal's opening goal on the day. So that is something I think that sets him apart as well.
How is he at kind of organising the defence? Because that Arsenal defence, I mean, it's full of characters, right? You got David Luiz, for one, leading it, and you got Mustafi and everyone who probably got their own opinions on how the defence should be organised. So Martinez coming in, not even like the senior guy. How was he organising that defence post lockdown? Was he vocal? Or did he let them do their own thing? I want your thoughts on that, Art.
So in terms of that, it's quite interesting because I wouldn't say it was just one voice organising. Obviously, in games post lockdown, you could hear the players a lot more and the managers a lot more. Emmy's was a voice that you could hear throughout the game, but you could also hear Rob Holding organising the defence, and David Luiz really did step up. Even though I know fans across the Premier League may see him as a bit of a suspect defender. He was actually one of the leaders of the defence, and Martinez did play a role in that. But in that, there were also instances where you could hear Mikel Arteta actually instructing him through games, which would have been just as important to his improvements. And of course, it's not just going to be him on his own. And I think probably Dean Smith is going to do the same as Mikel Arteta. But that's not to play down Martinez in any way. It's just that he is able of being a vocal leader, but it's not just going to be down to him. And I think you've got Tyrone Mings at centre back. He's going to be another important part of your guys' defence next season. So it's going to be a joint effort, not just Martinez, I think.
Yeah, I'm also quite intrigued, James, to see how Neil Cutler develops him. Because you look at Martinez, he's been around Arsenal quite a while. He's had a few loan spells. He must be in his early to mid 30s. He's only 28. It's a great age for a goalkeeper. So Neil Cutler
started last season off at age 26 because it was a mad one, wasn't it? It stretched so long.
Yeah,
so it's crazy.
We all know how well Neil Cutler's done with our goalkeeping department over the last couple of seasons. I'm intrigued to see, what Emi Martinez looks like in 2 or 3 years, and hopefully still with Aston Villa, of course.
Your fingers crossed. Neil Cutler, of course. I think from what we read of him, quite a progressive goalkeeping coach, and he had a project in Ireland which probably hasn't greatly worked out as everyone thought it might, because we're buying a new goalkeeper for one.
He did get better though.
Yeah, he did, but not to the point where you're not spending 20 million on a new keeper. So I think to put you on the spot, Art, is he worth that money then to get a final word 20 million worth every penny?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think from what he showed last season, I know that's not a lot to go off, considering he was at Arsenal for 10 years. But I think what was key was he didn't put a foot wrong in any match he played. I don't think any Arsenal fan was at any point discouraged by what they saw when he came into the side. Earlier on in the season, it was a bit more difficult for him because he was playing in the Europa League, and that's not consistent. That's not consistent minutes really, because you're playing every other week. But when he got that run of games, he was ready to come in, and he proved himself worthy of either a starting place at Arsenal or a move to another side, because he himself put himself in a position of strength going into this summer. And I think Arsenal understood that, and Aston Villa and Dean Smith had to have understood that as well to pay 20 million for him.
I've got a question that's for both of you. I imagine you'll come at it from different angles. Obviously, James, as an insider of Villa, would this signing go down as a statement of intent? And that's a cliche that always rolls out when a transfer goes through. But you look at from the outside looking in, Aston Villa pull Arsenal goalkeeper in for 20 million, who was starting games, and you look at that and think, ooh, that's a good bit of business by Villa.
Good for Art's one first, because he's the important person here.
Okay, I'd say I wouldn't 100% go with statement of intent, because with the way Martinez's situation played out, he was always looking for a guaranteed number one spot, and he couldn't get that out of Arsenal. Even though he was the number one last season after Bernd Leno was injured, Bernd Leno was always going to come back, and there was going to be a struggle between them. Arteta did say it was a problem that he would have liked to have, but I think if Martinez couldn't get that number one spot at Arsenal, it would have been the best decision for him to move on anyway, even if it wasn't Aston Villa. That being said, I do think Aston Villa moved really smartly to get him, and it should be a signing that breeds confidence for Dean Smith and Aston Villa fans across Birmingham.
Yeah, I think it's not like a statement. It's just like plugging that gap. I mean, did Villa fans want to trust, going 5, 6, 7? If Heaton's injury extends to 8, 9 games without a starting goalkeeper, someone your number one. So you buy Martinez. He's got 28 now. You've got years left of him, 4-year contract. I'm happy with it. It's not a statement, is it? It's not your Ollie Watkins record signing. It's just making that hard. And even then, is Watkins a statement? It's what Villa needed. They probably do need a goalkeeper, so it fits really, don't it, Dan?
Yeah, it's weird because we go back 6 to 8 weeks or however long back you want to go, and we're linked with goalkeepers, and we're sitting here going, "Oh, do we really need a goalkeeper?" Tom Heaton will only miss a couple of games. We'll probably be all right. And then when a signing of the caliber of Emi Martinez comes up, it is a no-brainer, isn't it? I think we'd all agree that Martinez is who you would pick over Tom Heaton, and I'm a big Tom Heaton fan. I'm still happy with that signing. Having him as a number 2 competing for the shirt it's a strong position to be in, considering how many dud goalkeepers we've gone through essentially over the last few years. So massive signing, I think, and very, very happy.
Yeah, so it's no reflection, is it, that kind of Martinez wasn't able to get that number one shirt, because it's always like Leno was going to come back and maybe take it. So it's no reflection on his abilities. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, I guess, at Arsenal.
Yeah, I'd have to say, it's no reflection on Martinez's ability at all, because Arteta was really impressed with him last season, and I think if he had an ideal situation, he would have kept him to battle for that number one spot with Bernd Leno. But I just think at this stage in Martinez's career, he's proven that he was able to fight the fight at Arsenal and get a number one spot and prove himself and win trophies as well. I think that's a key thing here. So he's proven himself at Arsenal. It's just the fact that he wanted to be in a position where he knew he was going to be the number one keeper at 28 years old as well, which is a great age for a goalkeeper. We all know that their careers extend past the early 30s kind of stage for what outfield players have. So I think in terms of his, it was more what he wanted rather than what Arsenal wanted. But I think Arsenal, especially considering there's still three-ish weeks left in the transfer market with other business to do potentially, then that was also probably a deciding factor in letting Martinez go with Bernd Leno as the number one.
Yeah, I think just to summarise on Martinez, because as I said earlier, me and Matt have done a podcast where we've kind of looked through Villa's best 11, and that'll be out tomorrow. It's one of those signings in football that works out for every party. It doesn't usually happen. Arsenal get 20 million for their effectively second choice goalkeeper. Emiliano Martinez gets to go and play first team football still in the Premier League after having won trophies with Arsenal. Probably gets double his wages. I saw reports that he was only on 25 or 30k or something at Arsenal. So even if he's given 60, that's still pretty low, really, considering the rest of the squad. And Villa get their first choice man in as well. So it's one of those rare occasions where pretty much everyone's coming out of this transfer happy, aren't they? Apart from the Arsenal fans.
Yeah, I think for the parties involved, aside from the Arsenal fans, it was a good deal for all, I think. Yeah, nice one. So Art, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us for 17 minutes on Facebook Live. You've written an article as well, haven't you, for Birmingham Live that I've seen, if you want to give that a cheeky plug. That went out maybe an hour or so ago. Just a quick piece on what Aston Villa are getting with Martinez, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I think I'm going to work on a more in-depth one on what Arsenal are losing for later on this afternoon. But yeah, that's up on Birmingham Live at the minute. So hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Nice one. Thank you very much, Art. We'll let you go, and we'll do the cruel thing of just removing you from the call.
They don't deserve that, do they? No one deserved that, mate. Especially Art really did not deserve the brutal drop. Billy the B as well, after 15 minutes just going on Watkins, full information, just pure, undiluted information. It's see ya.
Are you saying that you were happy to get rid of Matt Davis when we were talking about Matt?
No, I said Matt, Billy. Okay, I was going to say Ollie Watkins there. We have not had Ollie Watkins on the podcast. We're speaking about Ollie Watkins for a long time. But no, Art as well. He didn't deserve that. It's cruel, isn't it?
That was very interesting. It was always nice to hear the opposition side of things when we can find someone to join us who will happily take our stupid questions. Like, are you sad to lose this player? Obviously, let's talk about our goalkeeper situation then for a few minutes. If anyone's got any questions, we are live on Facebook and YouTube at the moment. Send your questions and we'll answer them. The rest of the goalkeepers, James, that's 5 now that Villa have: Martinez, Heaton, Neeland, Steer, and Kalinic. What happens to probably 2 of those 5?
I assume Heaton is obviously staying because of injury contract situation. We bought him last year, so that one's gone. He'll be competing for the starting spot, no doubt in my mind. But he's injured, so we're removing from the conversation. Nyland and Kalinic, I think Nyland's you can sell. I think Villa can probably make a profit on him. Again, it's like Gilbert. I don't know how much he came in for. It must be 1 to 3 million. I assume 5 million would be fair. He's a better player than what we bought. Very clearly, he's developed, not to the extent we maybe thought, but you can sell him on. Jed Steer's a tough one. We were all emotionally attached to Jed Steer.
There's been a few comments while we were chatting there, people saying they feel sorry for Jed Steer. Do you feel that sympathy, or are you of the mindset that football is ruthless and that's just the way it goes?
Yeah, I remember. So Jed Steer's an odd one because I remember seeing him when I used to work in town, like get the cross city train back. He used to be on it a few times from the Christmas market. I don't think like now he couldn't do that because people know him. Like he's a Villa, like he's for all intents and purposes a Villa hero, right, for his performances in that playoff run. Like as well as most of that team, you know, Adoma, Abraham, recall him fondly, but Steer's still here, and he's not getting probably the games he deserves. He's not getting the chance. You know, before, you know, in between us winning the playoffs and going into the Premier League, there was talk of Scotland international appearances, like them claiming him. So it's sad that he deserves a start. I think it's the same with like Kalinic. Kalinic is clearly, or he was all right, and then whatever happened, and he's not been able to get into the team. Yeah. He's got to go elsewhere, get his starts. It's weird how many quality, might be not Premier League quality, but fine goalkeepers we've had that we can't use. Nyland's probably not going to be a Premier League starter for us. Jed Steer probably isn't. Kalinic definitely not. So when we're talking goalkeepers, it's just going to be Heaton and Martinez, with Steer maybe as the third choice because Sarkic is gone as well. So it's crazy.
Steer's the weird one because he's definitely too good to be third choice. Arguably, I'm not sure whether he's Premier League starting quality, to be honest. I think we've probably got a bit of a, like you said, a bit too much of an emotional attachment to think.
Maybe we don't know. It's to interrupt. We don't know because Martinez was killing it at Reading, and then he's not starting for Arsenal. And like, you're never gonna know, and you have to go with the hand you want to play, and that's Martinez, who's clearly done it at Premier League level, comes in full of confidence, ready to go, and it's like. From what I see with him, it's the same as Heaton. It's like Heaton, Manchester United Academy, getting loaned around. Maybe he developed a bit earlier than Martinez, right? Martinez was 28, but that's a weird season. He would have developed at 26 had it carried on and went through. But Heaton had to be shipped out on loan. He weren't getting those starts until he found a place. So maybe Heaton's Burnley, Martinez Villa. Like maybe that's how it works. But yeah, Steer's that odd, sad, weird one, isn't it? Not him. He's not odd, sad, and weird. The situation.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, isn't it? If Tom Heaton is number 2 this season and then thinks I can get a number 1 spot somewhere else in the Premier League and leaves next year, Steer can then become second choice, and he's probably happy with that if Villa is still a Premier League side. But he might think, you know what, I'm better than second and third choice. I can go and get a move somewhere as well. So Steer's the strangest option there. Kalinic, absolutely no chance of a future at Villa. Nyland, like you said, if you can get a couple of million for him, you'd ship him on as well, and then you've been left with 3 very good goalkeepers there. In Martinez, Heaton, and Steer was the third choice. Steer, it's difficult, isn't it? Does Steer then become the cup keeper and Heaton does nothing all season?
I saw these weird conversations. It's like you have 1 and 2, so you have Martinez and Heaton battle for number 1, and Steer's the cup keeper. And I'm thinking, surely the guy not starting in the Premier League games wants to be starting in the cup.
That's what I mean. So what is Tom Heaton just going to twiddle his thumbs doing nothing while Jed Steer plays in the League Cup and Martinez plays in the Premier League?
It's a strange thing.
That makes Steer second choice then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's odd. The thing is, the big variable here is obviously Heaton's injury, how bad it is if he comes back as the same player with the same energy, the same fitness levels, the same body condition. It's all, you've got all these things to consider that that's such a higher pay grade than we're at. It's you're getting into sports science and stuff there. So look, you got to wait and see. I think Villa have put themselves in the best position possible with a new coach. I know it's not what everyone wanted to see, but it's putting themselves in the best position possible, really, isn't it? You saw a weakness at goalkeeper and you've acted on it.
There's a question here from Envy My Pancakes. Great name. He says, where will we finish, or she, where will we finish? Be honest. We did a Premier League predictions podcast, me and Matt, so we've got our numbers down, which will be in an episode probably Thursday, possibly Friday now, because we've had an episode yesterday. We've had this one today. The content does not stop.
Yeah.
So where do you think Villa will finish this year, if you're being honest?
I think the low bar would be 15th, the high bar maybe 12th, 11th. And I think depending on how you've seen the quality in the Premier League already, like Leeds going at Liverpool straight from the off, and the signing they're bringing in.
There's a lot of love for Leeds that everyone's raving about.
To be fair, everyone says that every year, and I know they had a wobble 2 years ago, but last season, straight all the way.
I don't mean specifically Leeds because they've fallen apart in the past. I mean, that style of football being so high press and energetic, can you sustain that over 38 games?
I have to wait and see. The questions get answered, don't. I mean, Norwich started strongly against Liverpool, and I think they fell heroically to Liverpool at the start of last season. So, look, you got to wait and see. But the quality in the Premier League, I feel, is at a higher level. So, if you're talking 15th and 11th, there might be like even just 3 or 4 points separating those places, even from the relegation zone. So, I don't think your finishing position, even if it's like 17th again, is a reflection on how poor or good you've been, because it could just be a good Premier League season. Hopefully not like last season, which was a bit awful down the bottom. I think Villa kick on 15th, 12th. I'll be happy. I don't care about position. I'll be happy if we're not talking about relegation as late as May.
Yeah, spot on. Totally agree. Stacey says, do we need another central midfielder? Now, this is one, again, me and Matt have talked about, so I don't want to kind of fumble over myself, but this depends on whether you see Jack Grealish as a central midfielder or a wide left player.
I think there was a conversation, wasn't there, that he had with the chairman and the owners about what position, obviously in the talks he had about Villa's future to sign a new contract, what's my position? I feel he wants to be the central midfield player, and I feel he'll get there. He'll get into those attacking central positions. In the meantime, though, he's clearly damaging on that left wing, and he's a massive factor for Villa on that. He's not a winger, but on the left, he's fantastic there. So hopefully he moves back into the centre, but we'll wait and see, because again, we didn't see McGinn play yesterday at all, and that's a massive factor. Henry Lansbury will probably be going somewhere else, massive factor, and the Campbell won't be playing games. Louise will be coming in. We'll have to see how the squad develops. I do think a box-to-box midfielder is key, but then that probably puts McGinn as your attacking central midfield player, your box-to-box midfielder, and then Louise, and that's Grealish on the wing. So I think you'd need another midfielder just to have those skill sets, because is Harahan a box-to-box midfielder? He seems to be all over the place in terms of his qualities. Can play from deep, can be a number 10, he can be all sorts. So maybe having that defined in a new signing later on, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think it also depends on winger acquisitions, doesn't it? The one that looks to be next to the door, if you believe reports, had a medical yesterday, I think, was Bertrand Traoré, who, again, I said on the podcast we did this morning, I've forgotten he was at Chelsea. He got shipped out to Vitesse with the rest of their loan army. Good on FIFA, is what people on Twitter are saying. Very quick.
So what sticks out about FIFA is so this means nothing, right? This is just FIFA, but what sticks out is he's got 1-star weak foot, which is like extremely. He's all the dominant foot, like all of it. He's one-footed, so that's extreme. That's just like a rarity. It's just a funny oddity to speak about.
Is he a left-footed right winger, or is it the other way around?
You put me on the spot, man, because I didn't know we'd be speaking about Traoré.
I'm pretty sure I've seen someone say that Rashica is a right-footed left winger, and Traoré is a left-footed right winger, or it's the other way around.
I mean, actually, I can. 91. So 91% of the time he's using his left foot, and he's playing on the right. Okay,
so he's a left-footed right winger. He's very one-footed. He's going to want to cut in a lot. Same as Jack Grealish on the left side with a right foot. He seems to be the next one through the door, like I said. Do you think we need another winger as well as him, or is it just the one winger we're after, in your opinion? And you're happy with Jack playing wide?
If you want Grealish to be in the middle, I feel like you do need, after our guys' performance against Burnley, you need to like you can't. Trezeguet stepped up, and I think El Ghazi's he's really good. We've seen him be really good, and he's just not
just in glimpses.
Yeah, and it's frustrating. He needs a competition. He can't be starting games in the Premier League, I don't think. If he's going to perform like that, and that's no offense to him because he's clearly quality, but if he's going to perform like he did against Burton Albion when he's got chances, and I know he could have been played through on, but the chances there to run out of defensive league, one defence that's sitting back like in a deep block, and he's not doing anything. It's all relying on Grealish and Watkins and even Ramsey and Lansbury to do things. So frustrating. If it's Rashica and Traoré, I'd go for both of them. Traoré overperforming his expected goals, clearly finishing. Maybe he's leaning on that 1 foot too much, but his game time decreased. I think there was talk about him probably not performing to what Leon would expect. Maybe formation change, so his playing time decreased, so he wasn't scoring as many goals as he did when he first joined. But look, clearly at a higher level, and where Villa was shopping before, right? So it smacks to me similar to the Trezeguet thing. You see a player performing, that's your market, you can buy in. Traoré the same. It's just like an upgraded Trez, really. Yeah,
like I said, if you play Jack left wing, you only need one winger because El Ghazi and Trezeguet become your backup. If you're moving Jack back into the central of midfield, though, you don't want to be starting games with Trezeguet or El Ghazi this season. In my opinion, your recruitment has failed if that's the case, because you should have spotted you needed two wingers. The final point I want to end on before we leave this lunchtime is the perception of the fans of the club that we're buying from. Now, we've just had Art on, obviously, Arsenal fans sad about Martinez leaving, and we're taking stock of that going, well, he must be good because Arsenal fans are sad to lose him. Whereas we look at Leon fans happy to get rid of Traoré, and we're all going, oh, well, he must be rubbish then. can those two things both be true, or can we just blank out one and ignore the other?
Look, like we'd be like if Lansbury went to win the Championship and we were like, yeah, good riddance, and he put up like a decent performance, like we know he could do anyway. Like it's no reflection. It's like if Scott Hogan goes to Blues and he scores 10, 11 goals, he didn't work for. We didn't give him the chance to work for us, and he weren't going to work anyway because he was a system player. He worked at Blues last season, and he probably will this season. It's no reflection. Leon, I remember, like this is going way back, but when we swapped Carew, people were saying we had our pants pulled down, like for Barosh. And like maybe that was the case in the immediate deal. Like Barosh, whatever. I can't really remember too much about his time at Villa because I was still pretty young. But Carew, we know Carew. Like you only need to say John Carew, and you see what he did. So I'll leave it there, man. It's no what fans think. He goes into a different system, a different role at Villa. It's incomparable.
Yeah, like you said, the comparison with us letting him go of a player that we're not happy with is what you take from it, isn't it? Like you said, if we're happy to get rid of Henry Lansbury and then he goes to QPR and smashes it, QPR will be buzzing with that. And then they'd be sad to see him go if he left. Likewise, we could be sad about Jed Steer leaving and he could go somewhere and be awful. What we think of the time he spent at our club is irrelevant to the rest of his career.
Yeah, it really doesn't work because you're only thinking about an immediate future that you're aware of. Like it's like James Chester, Stoke. He goes to Stoke and everyone's like, he's going to be great. Probably isn't. He probably didn't. I know for a fact he didn't do as well as he did at Villa because it's Stoke and they performed badly last season. And he was a part of that. So that's just how things work. James Chester, I'll hold him in the highest regard of Villa defenders that I've ever seen play for the club. You know what I mean? Like in terms of defensive footballers, he's one of my favourites. Like personally, I know that I'm not going to bring out stats and compare him to McGraw or whatever. In terms of the players I've seen at Villa, I hold him in the highest regard. Yeah. That doesn't work out at Stoke. Football does not play like that at all.
It's a good kind of immediate snapshot, isn't it, to the reaction of a transfer that, the fans are happy or sad to let them go. So that means this for now, but that doesn't reflect on what they're going to offer the team. So yes, Leon fans might be happy to get rid of him. They might accept 15 million euros, whatever the deal is reported to be. And Villa get an amazing player on the hands for the level and the system that we play him at. So
yeah, it's a Champions League team as well, isn't it? It's a team that got knocked out in the semis?
I think so, yeah.
So their expectations are way different. It's like saying we got a bench player from Man City and everyone's like, yeah, whatever. And like he does fine for us. Or not even a bench player reserve from Man City and us paying 15 million for him. Yeah. Everyone's like, yeah, whatever. Nothing player, and he turns it around for us. So look, the judgment is after the season. Like if we before lockdown, if we'd have said Trezeguet was a terrible signing, like before lockdown, then there's a clear improvement in performances and quality, and you see all the hard work he's put in pay off. And maybe he isn't the world's best signing, but you can certainly see how it changed in a short amount of time. Yeah,
I think that's a good, reasoned, sensible point to end on. Just before we go, because I've got to mention it because I can't not, because we mentioned it off air and I have to bring it up. I said before we started, did you like the new background? I got these posters up on the wall. This one's from Art of Football that I've had ages, and this one is from HR Designs that they sent me, and we're doing a competition prize for this one. So stay tuned to our Twitter at Claret Blue Pod to find out how you can win one of these. And you said, yeah, nice background. And then you said you've been basically bullied on Twitter because it looks like you live in a dungeon in your room.
So I can't have that window. The sun is just going through it. So it's like you wouldn't be able to see me if I opened that. It would just be a white glare.
You should open it to prove people wrong.
I don't want to do that now because I've got like... No, it's not happening now.
I'll put myself big screen. You go and open that and show people why you can't have that blind open. So I've seen comments say, James must just he must like living in the dark. But it is very bright, to be fair. Come on, James, come back. Let's see you. Oh, yeah. See, this is why.
Yeah, it looks dark. Like, this is the dungeon. Now it is a dungeon, so thank you for that. But it was like, so someone said, like, it was when I found something out about, like, I got like that little snippet of information. I shared it. It's like James Rushton doesn't do nothing. The Birmingham Mail just let him write a few articles sometimes. And his mate to let him on the podcast. Like you're talking to the social engagement producer of the entire.
Oh, all right, SARS, don't need to say that. The thing is, basically, the camera is trying to expose that very bright light and make sure the rest of your room dark. If you block that window with your head now, you'd brighten up again. But you can't sit like that for the episode.
I wasn't even picking myself up there. I'm just saying I'm on the payroll. You know what?
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, always got to end one of these with a bit of nonsense, mate. What you need to do is get one of these nice posters or something back up on the wall so people got something to look at.
I had a Halo one that I left up for, like, oh man, it was like Halo 3, like bad time.
Oh, you've got to get bullied for that as well, don't you? Look. Right, we'll let you go back to your dungeon. Thanks everyone for joining us this Wednesday afternoon. I hope you've enjoyed this little bonus episode on what we can expect from Emiliano Martinez. As I said, me and Matt did a massive bumper. We recorded for an hour and a half, but it'll probably be about an hour 15 episode of Premier League predictions, our Villa's best 11, and we also talked a little bit about Burton Albion as well. That'll be out either Thursday or Friday of this week, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, thanks for joining us. We appreciate all your comments, all your questions, and all your feedback. And we'll catch you again in a few days. Up the Villa.
See you soon. Up the Villa.